Hello, TCI family and everybody out there from Jonathan's Refuge and Grace Connection and all the organizations that we are part of and oversee. I want to tell you I'm excited about what's happening in our life. Things are really changing and growing. So if you're not plugged into our church already in our network, please reach out to us. Get on our Facebook page, the Church of Inclusion. Go to the website, www.inclusion.church. So it's www.inclusion.church and find out what's going on. There's some really exciting stuff. Let's get into our message tonight. Burn your ships. You've heard this, right? You've seen people talk about it. If you're a historian, you've heard great generals use this principle of full commitment. Either we win or we die. There is no other option. And it's a great strategy, but it has to be done properly. If you don't have a plan on how to win, well, then you're probably going to die. But I want to get into some scripture. I want to get into some other historical documents. So let's kind of go through this. What brought this on, by the way, is that myself, our church, our Jonathan's Refuge, the home of hope for men that we manage, named after me, that group has been just transforming, and our church members are transforming. In 2023, our message is transforming me in 2023. So every lesson has been about, so far this year, the last almost 4 months, has been about transforming ourselves, becoming the best version that we can be. One of those things that hold you and me back is the fact that we have comfort zones. Let me tell you what I mean. We'll get into the message here. In the book of Luke, which is in the Bible, the New Testament, it's one of the four Gospels, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and John. The book of Luke, chapter 18, verse 22, it says, Jesus said to the rich young man, "One thing you still lack. Sell all that you have and distribute to the poor, and you will have treasures in heaven. And then come follow me." Do you guys know what that man's name was? The rich man, the rich young man. Do you know? Anybody? Any biblical scholars? You don't. None of us do. Do you want to know why? Because he missed the boat. You see, he liked his wealth, the money, and what he didn't realize is that there was a greater opportunity, and he would have been even greater in things that he wanted to achieve greatness. But how do you do that? And Jesus was showing him it's really simple. Sell it all, give it all away, and go change the world. Maybe that was the young man, the rich young man, that was meant to write most of the New Testament. How many people that no one knows their names were the person that was supposed to have wrote the play, was supposed to have got the acting gig, was supposed to get that job, was supposed to marry this person, all these things that was supposed to happen, but never did. Why? See, we study people that are successful in life, but we also study people who are failures because we want to make sure we don't do anything like that. Now, I know some people say, well, I won't do that. I will not study failure. I'm not asking you to learn failure. I'm asking you to learn the principles, the markers that tell you, you're in trouble, stay away, you're going to die. You know, these are good markers. And we need to study the people who have failed so we can make sure we don't follow in their tragedies. Now, here's what's interesting. What's your fear? What's holding you back? Most of you guys know I'm always transforming myself, my health, my weight. I used to be 450 pounds. I was a huge man. And I wasn't always that way. There's a lot of reasons for it. But I got that big. And I lost it all. And I went down to 170 pounds. And I was like this little skinny man with this huge head. And you got to remember, I was a fighter. I was the guy who ran a whole state for a certain family, okay? I was the muscle. and now I dropped all that weight. I was this little tiny guy. And I'm like, no, thank you. And I went back up to my fighting weight, 2.25. And then I was happy there. But I ended up having all those heart problems last year, 7 heart surgeries, right? 3 of them were just last year, and a couple other surgeries. And so my life has changed. I've met a new doctor. We have an amazing thing happening with my health and my wife's. We're starting a whole new protocol for eating and what we can eat and what we can't eat. And it's working. Everything's working. But I had to do something. I had to go into my fridge and burn the ship. You see, I want to get back down to my 160, 170 because I need to for my heart. It's not that I need to because I want to. Let me explain this. If I don't do it, I'll be dead. So the ship's burned. Do you get that? For me, it's a no-brainer. It's life or death. I choose life. What does that mean? I got to go into my fridge and take out all that carb crap and throw it out. All the sauces, because the sauces, all those salad dressings, that stuff's got sugars and all kinds of bad crap in it. I had to throw it all out. So instead of just trashing it, I know it's bad food, but there's people that are starving and they'd be glad to have some of that. So took all the stuff that we had and whoop, get it off somewhere so people can use it and make use of it versus me just throwing it in the trash. But it's gone. There's a couple other things in my life that are personal that I have decided to burn the ship. And my friends are like, no way, you're not. Absolutely. I don't need to do anything. Anything that controls you, by the way, like if you have a cigarette habit or a nicotine habit or a drinking habit or a coffee habit. Guess what? I have to have my coffee before you can talk to me. I tell my wife that. Up until last Friday, I told my wife that every day. Come on. I'd call CEOs from the company would call. I need to talk to you, boss. Not until I get my coffee. I have to have my coffee. The coffee controlled me. BS, did I need my coffee to wake up and function properly and nice? No, I did not. It's my excuse. It's my addiction. You ever heard of the cigarette guy? Let me get my first morning smoke in and then we'll talk, at the job site or at the house. Honey, kids, I need my morning cigarette first. Yeah, you're controlling, dude. You're owned. You are owned by your cigarette and your alcohol and your coffee. And when you realize that, you'll do like I did. You'll burn the ship because nobody owns me. I'm going forward. Now, that also means I got to change my habits. And so you got to first figure out, what is your fear? What is my fear? Well, maybe the diet won't work. Maybe this new way of figuring out how to get healthier and live a better life, maybe I can't do it. I can tell you right now, you're not going to do it and you will fail because you've already set that in your stage, in your mindset. See, that's a failure mindset. That's the mindset of people who lose, not the mindset of people who win. It is not a winning mindset. It's either all or nothing. There is no in-between. Okay, the in-betweens, you never even heard of them. At least the rich young ruler was rich, but you never even heard of his name. No one knows at all. He was rich. That's it. How many rich people you know? I know a whole bunch. I know a bunch of people that are dead right now that are friends of mine that had millions and millions of dollars. Nobody even knows who they were, what they did. They did nothing with their life. Zero. They made a bunch of money, had a couple trips, woohoo, went around the sun a few times, and that's it. What are you going to do with it? So let's look at some things. First thing is you got to make a commitment to a plan. So if you have a plan, and I'm gonna brag on one of the guys at our church, one of my assistants. His name is Jesse, or I call him Jessito. He's a spiritual son of mine. And another one, Cameron, who's also a spiritual son of mine. These two men want to set an example. They're two of my leaders on my leadership team at the Jonathan's Refuge, our home of hope for men. And they see how some of these guys are spending a fortune on cigarettes. And so they want to set this example. One of them chews and one smokes this thing called a vape. So when I broke down all the chemicals and how you're addicted to caffeine or nicotine and you have to have it, that's true. For 21 days, your body's going to go through nicotine withdrawals. After that, it's out of your system. There is no other bodily withdrawal. It's all up in your head now. And this is where the full commitment comes in. It's all or nothing. One of them said, I'll start tomorrow, when my vape juices that I bought is gone. That's like me saying, let's finish everything in the fridge first, right, honey? Let's eat all the good stuff this week. And we got like $200 in food in there. I'm not going to throw $200 in food away and ice cream and all these treats. I mean, my gosh. And you can justify it. I entertain people all the time. This office here, I am entertaining with my wife and me. We got company people coming in here. We got conferences we're holding. We got all kinds of things. So I need all this stuff. Yeah, I could have used all that excuse so I can just say BS, go in, grab it all, throw it out, make a commitment, and walk away. Make the call, pull the trigger, and stop just playing safe. Safe will not get you results. Safe will leave you in the corner and in the dark and in the dust. Let's also talk about a couple things here. You have to get with your mentors. You got to create a plan before you burn your ship. So you can't just say, I'm quitting and I'm burning the ship. You need a plan. So get with your mentors. If you don't have them, reach out. I'll be more than glad to work with you if I have time. But if not, I've got some amazing mentors in our organization all over this country, from bishops, psychologists, some of the greats. And I would love to plug you in with them if we can get you some help in mentoring you. So you get your plan, and then you got to have, of course, the F part. We talk about that a lot: faith, plan, action. Repeat until success. And if not success, then revise the plan. And then repeat until success. And if not success, revise the plan, and you just keep going until it works. Now, here's what's interesting. When you burn your way backwards, so you got no out, you can't get out of it. This is where true commitment comes. So I want to talk about 3 different examples. One of them is a guy named Hernan Cortez. Everyone's heard of Cortez, right? The Cortez Gold. He did some bad things in South America and other places on the globe. Not a nice guy. But he left, and he came to the New World with 11 ships, 100 sailors, and 500 soldiers. And when he got there, he needed to make a commitment. He needed his guys to buy into his commitment. He was committed, but he needed the guys, the 600 people, to commit with him. So he ordered the ships to be burnt. And they're sitting there going, we're in what they call the New World, which is South America. And this is coming from Europe. And no one's ever been over here like us. So this is crazy. We're going to burn our ships? How do we get home to our wives and our kids? I love my sons, my daughters, my mom, my dad, my wife, my girlfriend. No, I didn't say that. This is a church. Got to have some fun. Lighten up. Take it easy, all you religious people. Relax. God's rolling on the floor right now. He's laughing his ass off. Okay. He burned it all, and they had full commitment. You say, let's use another example. Let's do for it. One of my favorite is Alexander the Great. My youngest son, Maximus Odin Alexander Brown, named after Alexander the Great. I have my proud Greek heritage. I come from the island of Crete, where supposedly Zeus, the god, was born on the island there. And I have family that also comes from the more northeastern side, where they ended up. There's a movie you guys all probably seen called The 300. Those Greek soldiers came from Sparta, and I got roots going back there. So I've got 2 different parts of Greece, and I'm a proud person with my heritage, my Irish heritage, my American heritage, all of my heritage. But Alexander the Great, 1,000 years before Cortez. So Cortez, and then 1,000 years before Cortez, here's what's interesting, is he went ahead, and when he landed on the Persian shores, from Greece to Persia, Alexander used the strategy, and he burned the ships. Gone. This was 334, so 334 BC, so before Christ. This is a time when Alexander had his entire army, and he's going into an unknown territory. He doesn't know if he's going to face 1 billion people, or if he's going to face 20, or if they're the most seasoned warriors in the world and going to slaughter them, and they need an escape route. Well, if you put an escape route in, weak people will use it every time. And if you know you have an escape route as a strong person, it can make you weaker. And so Alexander the Great used this situation. Now let's continue. Another example, the third one, is the Battle of Jula. This is in 208 BC in China. It's General Xian Yu, and I quote this. He said, "Break the kettles and sink the boats." He committed the Chinese army to forge ahead. There's no going back. Now wait until you hear what happened. Why is that important? He had an army of 50,000 soldiers. That's huge. But he was facing the Qin army, and they were 400,000. 50,000, 400,000. 50,000, 400,000. Do the math. That is astronomical. And these 50,000 soldiers, what did he do? Well, let me read more of it. What he did is, it says, again, I quote, this is the general. He committed his Chinese army to forge ahead. So before the battle of the Qin army, the 400,000 with his 50, he didn't want to he burned the ships already, right? So but there's still ways out. They can run back. I mean, we got food back here. We got a supply chain. He burned it all. He actually, the words they used were take 3 days supply of food. So he ordered that all of his soldiers get 3 days supply of food and then take all the resources and burn them. Break all of the utensils for cooking, all the pots, the pans. It's all gone. Throw it, break it, burn it, trash it. There is no supply line. There is no way out. If you go back that way, you got nothing and you're going to walk like 2 weeks, you'll be dead. So you have no way but to march forward. This is a key in getting success. Now, what goal are you trying and what goal will you set? You have to set the goal. So that's the first question you need to ask yourself. What goal am I going to set? Then you need to ask this. What ship do you need to burn in your life? You see my friend Jesse and Cam, they did it. They committed. Now, how many of you have done this? I'm going to quit, but you didn't tell anybody, right? I'm on a diet, but you didn't say anything. Your wife knows, right? Or your husband knows, or your kid knows, or your uncle, or your brother, but your best friend, but no one else, because you don't want to, hey, I'm going on this diet. I'm going to lose 20 pounds. And then 8 months later, everyone's like, you're 10 pounds heavier. So you don't want that. So you keep the goal quiet. I'm going to quit smoking. Yeah, you don't want to tell people that because what if you go back? It's so hard to quit, all that stuff. You probably quit twice before. And so, let's not advertise it. Yeah, you're never going to quit then. Okay. That's the loser mentality. And I'm not calling you a loser, but that is the mentality of a loser. The person who just says, we'll keep it quiet. We don't need to share with the whole world. Yes, scream it from the mountaintops. My guy Jesse got on all over social media with all of his family, friends, everybody, me, his spiritual parents, his church, his business, everything. And he's like, I'm quitting vaping. This stuff's bad for me. Why am I paying $80 a month to poison my body and to be addicted to something that owns me? He finally got it. And you know what? He'll make it. That I guarantee, because he has no other option. It's forward or die. My guy Cam did the same thing. It's forward or die. No, it's not that you're going to hold off a couple more days. Let's finish up our vape. Let's finish our last chew. That's not commitment. Commitment's when you throw it out. Commitment's when you say, I got $20 in cigarettes here. And you know how expensive this stuff is? Throw it out. Walk away. If you can't drink and you're not supposed to and you need to walk away from the alcohol, walk into your room right now, get all the booze, throw it down the sink and say, that's it. I'm going dry. It's a commitment to make that change. You have to do that or you will never do it. You will never make it. You have to be committed, full force to go forward, or you will always go backwards. As long as you have your out. You see, there's an out. I have an out. I do. I used it for years. I got a bad heart. And I do. All y'all know this. I got one of the worst hearts. According to the doctor from Harvard, no doctor would touch me in America until last year. Not one doctor would touch this guy's heart. It was so bad. So, that's horrible. You guys got to understand. I'm going to die. Burn the ship. Burn it. When I was working for the family business, right? And I was what would I classify myself? I got to be careful. IRS can always say, you made a certain amount of money illegally. That's how they got Al Capone. But when I walked away from that lifestyle, I went in. I had a fortune at my disposal coming into me. And I said, I'm out. They're like, but you got all this money. And I said, it's yours. I walked away. I burned the ships. There is no going back. None. And then I announced it to the world. I let everybody know my intentions, just like I did today and the day before and this week. As I was modeling that example for my guys, they saw it and modeled it for their guys. And that, my friend, is how we succeed. We burn the ship of escape. It's not meaning go physically burn ships. If any of you idiots out there go and burn a ship and I find out about it, you're going to get the beast to come after you. Don't burn a physical ship. Don't burn anything. I'm talking about burning the things in our life that are holding us back. Well, I got this one guy and I date him. This is one of my ladies at the church was telling me. I date him from time to time. I got to be honest. It's more of a booty call from every 3 or 4 months. I like him, but I can't marry him. He's a real dirtbag. Burn the ship. Call it off. Let the whole world know you're done with that loser or that guy or that gal or that idiot, whatever it is. Walk away and proclaim it to people. But first, have a plan. So that's where you got to first get with your mentors, create a plan to succeed. then execute the plan by burning the ship. For some people, it's having access to cash. I have a couple guys in our outfit that they just can't spend money. So they don't, I shouldn't say they can't, they spend it too much. So they know the ship for them is that credit card, that access, but they need it. So how do you burn that? So they come to their mentors and said, how can we do this? Well, we created a place for them to have a lockbox and they can put it in there and it takes a second person's key to get it out. And so that person's saying, hey, real quick, what are you going to use this for? Oh, good job, man. And it holds them accountable. Now, some people don't need that. Some of you can control your funds and spending like me and my wife. Okay, maybe not like me, but like my wife. And you don't need to do that. But the part of it that we all need to do is figure out what part of the bridge we need to burn. So what's your bridge? Is it an addiction? Are you the Ninkum like me, the Ninkum? See, I spent up until last week $5 and some odd cents a day. So that is $150 a month. Like, what is that? $1,300, like $1,800 a year at Starbucks. $1,800 a year. Do you know that $1,800 a year could have every 2 years can buy me a killer snowmobile? I mean, a really killer snowmobile every 2 years. Hey, babe, I'm going to go get that snowmobile because I don't drink coffee at Starbucks anymore. What's wrong with me? That's what I said when I thought of it. And one of my mentors reminded me, he's like, hey, knucklehead, what's your addiction? I'm like, I don't have an addiction. He's like, you don't? Well, I see it in your hand. So it doesn't mean you can't drink coffee, okay? That's not what I'm trying to tell you. What I'm trying to tell you is figure out what is your ship that you need to burn. And you need to make that plan, and you need to look at the example of some of the great men and women in history who were all in. Martin Luther King marched in a city down in Birmingham, Alabama. And when he marched down there and when he crossed that bridge, they told him, you're going to get arrested. We are going to lock you up. But it wasn't so much the arrest and the lockup. He didn't care. It's the beating he was going to take. It was the beating his people might take. It was the beat. And I say might because some of them didn't get beat, but a good portion of those people did get beat. I have friends who are black and white who marched with him. And they tell me these stories and I'm sitting there going, wow, what a commitment. I mean, you know you're going to get arrested. You know you're going to jail. And you know you're going to get a beating. They're going to possibly kill somebody in that, freedom bus and the marchers. And they all went. That's all in. So like the young ruler, that scripture I started with as I close, I share a part of my life because a lot of my friends think I'm maybe lost it. They're like, JB, you off any mental meds? Like, I'm not on any. They're like, you're pretty good at making millions of dollars. Why are you giving it all away? Because I want to do something great with my life. And if I'm selfish, greedy, I'll be like that rich guy, the rich one in chapter 18 of Luke, who walked away because he couldn't let go of the little amount that he had. So what? I can make a couple $1 million a year. I know some people are like, that's amazing. Not really. It's easy. So I can take a company to $100 million a year. That's gigantic. Yeah, it is. Not really. How would you like to be the person who maybe created the cure for a virus? Maybe you're the one that helped fund the project and spearheaded something to change the world, to get us off of fossil fuels overnight. Why aren't you all in? That's what I saw in the scripture was all in. And that's when I looked and I said to my wife before she was my wife and we were dating, I hope you don't think that we're going to be like really rich in life. And why is that? I was like, because I'm giving it all away, like all of it. I make about $1,500 on a monthly payment that I get that comes in. And you know what? That's what we live off of. And so make no mistake. I travel all over the globe on business. And I have friends that love me that are filthy stinking rich. And so they love to have me go on vacation with them because they want to tap in and say, hey, can I get some of your advice real quick? Sure, I'll give you my advice. Absolutely. Love to be on that cruise ship with you, giving you the advice. But the point is simply this. You want to make great changes in this world? You want to make great changes in your life? It takes great radical change. Great changes, radical change. You got to radically change your mindset and burn it all. So as we go forward this week, what ship do you need to burn? And what plan do you have so that when you burn the ship, you win? I love you guys. God bless. We'll see you guys next week.